in the same way that Bandersnatch is interactive on Netflix. To some degree, my YouTube channel is the same way. I always remind everyone, I'm not here to teach you anything, I'm actually here to learn from you. I made a video called Maybe I Have More French DNA Than I Realize If Iberian DNA is in France Too. I don't know, you can't see anything from my phone, but that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the comments that I received. And it's very interesting to see this, because I was aware that the last name that I would have had one of my great ancestors not kidnapped a young girl and she got pregnant. And that's why my last name is Shell, because that was from her line, not the actual name. Had that been like a legitimate marriage and all that, then my last name in theory would have been Stallion. In my understanding is that was French. But thanks to you, the researchers, the viewers, my great friend Fab French, who's been watching my channel, is very faithful to watch my videos. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm grateful all of you are here, of course. But looking at this comment, he did the research. And what he found was, I'm going to read this. He says that if we look for Etalon, which means stallion, in a geopatronyme, it seems that the name exists even if very few people have it. It seems concentrated, 11 people only, in the area that border French-speaking Switzerland, Jura. Maybe it is more common in Switzerland, which sounds more logical since Switzerland had been a refugee point for French-speaking Huguenots and Protestants in general. So that's very interesting, that in theory, if you have that very rare last name Stallion, that you actually really came from Switzerland. So that's interesting to me, because now it puts me in a position where I would ask you, do I look Swiss? What does Swiss look like? It's funny because in America, there's not a lot of people around, at least in the South where I'm from, saying, hey, yeah, I'm Swiss. I mean, I think of the very famous Ryan Seacrest. Seacrest is a Swiss last name, but what does that really mean by the time you're all mixed up in the DNA down here? Does it really matter? So what does a Swiss person look like? The only experience I have, there's a winery near my hometown. Last time I've been there had been probably at least 10 years. And the owner is Swiss. And the way I would describe him, if anything, would be a tall Italian guy. Okay, I'm 5'9". This guy was like, I don't know, 6'2", tall, slender guy. His skin seemed to maybe be lighter than mine. Very dark hair, though, almost black hair. And his nose was actually, I'd say, bigger than mine. It was more of a pronounced triangular shape, more of a pointed nose. He had this long, kind of flowing hair that seemed, if I were to think of a French man, I don't know, for some reason. So when I think of Swiss, of course, as an American, I also think of the Swiss Miss Hot Cocoa, which is this little girl with blonde hair. And also at my parents' house recently, I was actually reading my daughter some stories, and there was this old book from the 1950s, and it was about this girl in Switzerland. Actually, it was Heidi, that became that famous movie in America, and it was this concept of blonde people and living in the mountains, drinking goat's milk. So this is all I have to go on. I don't know anything about Switzerland as far as Swiss culture. I understand the neutrality of them as a political nation and watches, right, and chocolate, but that's all I know. And I've never addressed this on my channel. I've asked about so many things. I've asked about Spain, I've asked about Mexico, I've asked about France and Italy and all these things, but never once have I ever talked about anything Swiss. So, cast and call, is there anyone out there who's watching my video who can tell me everything I need to know about Swiss culture, Switzerland, the nation, and specifically, would I belong in Switzerland? Would you see this guy and think, yeah, he'd fit in just fine with everyone in Switzerland as long as he didn't open his mouth and start speaking with that American accent? Teach me what I need to know right here in the comments.